Morning class, Professor Kev here. Today's student success tip is called I flunked out of college and now I'm a professor. So if you've been in my class, I've shared my story with you, but I realize most of you were never in my class. So let's take a few minutes to give you my background. So when I graduated high school, I applied to ULowell, it was just ULowell back then, and they told me I had to take a math class and pass it to get in, a summer class. That's not going to be good. My problem class, I wasn't very good at algebra. In high school, you had to take algebra 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. I failed them all. I had to take 1A twice, 1B twice, 2A, 2B twice. I joke I have an associate's degree in algebra. So taking 2B, and the teacher's like, Mr. Willett, Christmas is coming early to you. He passed me. I didn't deserve the pass. I had a really low grade. I was extremely thankful until I realized that it probably wasn't helping me much. So I go to this summer class. It was fun. There was a movie made like in 87 or so, summer school. It was a lot like that. It was just fun class, but we really weren't good at math. I felt so bad for the poor teacher. She was teaching her heart out. The problem is this was a pre-calculus class. If you don't understand algebra, probably not going to do well in pre-calculus. And first exam comes, so we all leave in class afterwards. How'd you do? How'd you do? Bad, bad. Poor teacher comes back next class. She has the exams in her hand. She's like, I have your exams. We're all like, and she just throws them in the barrel. So it's like, nobody passed. Nobody came close to passing. And we're like, well, so much for going to UMass Lowell. I guess we're not going. And she passed us. Now, again, extremely thankful until I realized what was going to happen. I signed up for the calculus class. First exam, I get a 42. That's bad. And I stayed at the university for about 3 semesters. I had a little over 1 GPA. I just didn't do well in anything kind of math related. So calculus, um, economics, statistics, just didn't do well in those classes. So I dropped out before they asked me to leave. And that was tough. I remember my mom saying, "Oh, you'll go back to school someday." And I just laughed in my head. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, mama." There was no chance I was going back to school. Why do I want to fail again? Because that's what I thought was going to happen. Now, when I was younger, I didn't have maturity, I didn't have study skills, didn't have time management skills. I could say all of that. That's why I failed. So what if I go back and I fail again? That's going to be a painful experience. So I'm working in retail and I realize I need to start to go to school to get promoted. I'm scared. Uh, what if I fail again? So sometimes the universe just does what it's supposed to do. Where I was living at the time, a community college opened up a branch literally down the street, like a 10-minute walk from my house, because it was kind of destiny. So I signed up. I got my associate's degree. I'm like, okay, one piece done. I stopped going to school after that. There, I learned that I liked accounting. So I switched from retail to working in accounting. All right, now I got an entry level job, and that's where I'm going to stay unless I go get my bachelor's degree. I'm scared, class. I'm scared. So I went to Northeastern at night while I was working during the day, and I got my bachelor's degree. Wow. Last class, trying not to cry telling this story. Last class, I'm walking down the stairs out to the building. I just started like ugly crying. Like, I did it. I did it. And I was proud of myself because I did it. I'm like, oh, thank God. So fast forward, I'm working, I'm running my networking group, and I meet someone from the university. And she's like, have you ever thought of being a professor? I started cracking up. I'm like, I flunked out of ULowell, and I don't think I should be a professor. She's like, you have a lot of experience, your personality. I think students would just like being around you, learning from you. Oh man, I've never had so much mixed emotions going through my body at the same time. My head screaming, no, no. Because what if I fail again? That's where I failed. Like I go back there and I fail again. Like, oh my God, that's just gonna bring back all those memories. I'm like, no, 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 no. But then the other part of me was like, It's a redemption story. If you can go from failing to being a professor, it's going to be a pretty good story. And I was like, oh, and I decided to try it. In my head, I'm like, all right, look, it's 15 weeks. One class, 15 weeks. Go do it, see what happens. First day of class, I was outside and I'm in the chair and I am rocking back and forth. I am scared. I talk fast naturally. That day I was like, just, I was stunned that anyone even came back to start class. It was so bad. But I shared my story. And when I told my friends I was going to share my story, like, no, absolutely not. They won't respect you. I think it makes me relatable. I've had those professors with their 4.0 and they're not relatable to me. They didn't have the same challenges, the same struggles that most of my students and I had. So when I tell that story, it works for me. And why I'm telling you this whole story, the university did an article on me. And in the article, I said that it's my redemption story because the important thing to take from this video, it's not how the game starts, it's how it ends. Class, you will face setbacks. If you don't, then I don't know. You're probably not trying that hard. You're playing it way too safe. And again, there's a chance that you're going to fail again. But by facing those setbacks and learning from them and being willing to grow, now look, I've been a professor for 7 years. If you would have said back then when I failed that I would someday even go back to school, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna have that pain feeling again that I failed. Because again, my mom was like, you'll go back to school. I was quote unquote the smart one in the family. And I didn't feel very smart when I failed miserably. I didn't want to risk having my feelings hurt like that again. Luckily I did and stuff. And I'm encouraging you that when you have those setbacks to understand it's just temporary. It feels like it's permanent and you're never going to recover, but in most cases you will. So when you get that, hopefully you'll think about this video and say, you know what? If he can go from failing to being a professor, I can overcome my setbacks too. All right, so that's my story. They said if you want to shoot me a message, you want to talk about it, maybe this feels like it relates to you. Maybe you've had some of the same struggles I've had with school. Always here to talk to you. All right, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a truly dazzling day.